Just a very warm welcome again to all of you. My name is Tara Healey. I'm the founder and director of the mindfulness program for Point 32 Health. And Point 32 Health is the parent company of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. And again, for anybody that is just joining now, go ahead and open up the chat, and from the drop-down menu, make sure that you select everyone. I'm not sure why it defaults to host and panelist, but this will give us an opportunity at the end to share resources, ideas, ask questions, share anything you want about the practice, or a podcast, or a book, or anything that you have come across related to practice that you have found to be beneficial. I am really excited to announce, and I said this yesterday as well, but I want to say it again in case we don't have time at the end, that we are going to be switching up, changing up our offerings a little bit on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So Tuesday is the day with the most change, and we have most of you, we have your email addresses, so you will get something if you haven't received it already. If you have, actually, you can let me know. Just put a yes in the chat. But on Tuesdays, we're not going to have the 8:30 practice anymore, and we're going to move from practice to 12 to 12:30, and it'll be based on a theme. Each month there will be a wellness theme, and so we're going to use that opportunity to bring in a teacher, one of our teachers, who will guide the first 3 Thursdays of the month. And then the last Thursday of the month will be thought leaders and researchers. And it's a really incredible lineup. So the last Thursday or Tuesday, the last Tuesday of the month will be the research and the thought leader. So Tuesday is the day that is going to change the most. So the 8:30 will no longer happen. It's going to move to noon, 12 to 12:30, and those will all be recorded. So, if somebody is not able to join, and it will start in January. So it's going to start in January. And then Wednesdays, we're going to go back to the format that we had when some of you knew Suzanne Palacino, who was the host. So I'm going to move into the host role, and there'll be 2 of us on Wednesday. So no change at all to the time or to the themes or to the practice. It's just that there's going to be a host and a leader, and that leader will come usually with some kind of theme. And then Thursday is basically going to be just the same. The only change may be that John Roberts, who's the operations manager of our program, will make an appearance occasionally on Thursdays and just talk about how the Tuesday sessions are going. So Tuesday is the biggest change, and it's going to move 12 to 12:30, and it'll be theme-based, with the exception of the last Tuesday of the month. That'll be a researcher. And these are all like giants in the field of mindfulness, really incredible. Wednesdays will be a host and a teacher, and Thursdays will be just the same. So pretty exciting. We are, just delighted that we've had this consistent community for 4 years. And we thought it was time to change it up. And it's also going to be called the Living Well Community rather than Living Well at Home, since most of us are more out and about or hybrid now. So more to come on that, but we can save time at the end of today for Q&A about this, as well as, sharing any resources. So with that, let's go ahead and move into our practice this morning. So you want to sit in a way that is comfortable, relaxed, yet engaged. I often say it's kind of not too loose and not too tight. So you're holding yourself in a way that feels easeful, yet engaged. And your eyes can be open or closed. If you keep them open, it's helpful to gaze downward a little bit just to remove distraction peripherally. But I always start with a couple deep breaths, making the exhalation longer than the inhalation. So go ahead and make any micro movements for um, comfort and ease and engagement, and take a couple deep breaths. And just allowing your body and mind to surrender into this moment, letting go of all that has happened so far today, and releasing anticipation of what's next, allowing this time for yourself, fully coming into this moment. And a helpful way to do that is just to notice your body and what sensations are being felt. So, pulsing or vibration, points of contact along the back of the body and the surface that you're on. And perhaps there's a tingling or you're aware of temperature. And just what's happening in the body, and aware of thoughts. Mm, bringing a receptive mode, a receptive attitude to the mind. And that is one of the really, I think, foundations of this practice, is that we're bringing an attitude of receptivity to our practice. So whether something feels pleasant or unpleasant or neither one of those, somewhere kind of neutral, it's all included. So there is the word allow is the word that I often use. We don't have to like everything, but for things that have shown up in our mind or body and we know it, as soon as we know it, seeing if we can move into a receptive, curious mode. And let's take a moment to expand awareness to include sound. So, sound that may be occurring in the room that you're in, or even outside of the room, just hearing without any need actually to label what's making it, but just hearing. And this is a kind of bare attention, and allowing sound to come and go in your background as it naturally will. I'm going to take us through a body scan as a way to begin. So, bringing awareness back inward first to the whole body, just noticing how things are, really feeling into rather than thinking about the body, but feeling into the various sensations, including the points of contact all along the back of the body or the soles of the feet if you're standing. And let's go ahead and move through regions of the body, receiving sensation or noticing lack of sensation. So, starting at the top of the head, very top of the head, isolating this part of the body, receiving sensation or noticing lack of sensation. Coming down over the sides, including the ears, and going around to the back of the head. And moving awareness to the face. So the forehead and the eyes, nose, mouth and jaw, chin, even including the tongue, softening the muscles of the face to the degree that you can. Notice what's there, what sensations are being known. with a kind of allowance. Moving awareness down over the neck and shoulders. Continuing down the forearms, the upper arms, the hands, both arms and hands together now, and noticing what's there. And moving awareness to the torso, so the front of the body and the back of the body, and internally. Moving down over the hips and thighs. And then sweeping, continuing the sweep with your awareness over the knees and the lower legs, and including the feet. Really feeling internally what's happening or noticing lack of sensation. And releasing that and coming back to the whole body for a moment and noticing, are there any particular areas looking for attention? Letting your awareness just drop in right there and receive. And if not, go ahead and just receive the whole body. And for the remainder of the practice, let's find a more narrow focus of attention. So that could be breath sensation anywhere in the body that you notice it. So as you inhale and exhale, where in the body is the feeling internally? You feel and connect with the sensation of breathing. So it could be belly, kind of abdomen or chest or nostrils, or perhaps the movement of the whole body. And if breath is challenging for any reason or any time, you can move to a different object. Something that you can easily return to each time you notice that the mind has wandered, remembering that we're not trying to stop thought from happening. We're just seeing when we're practicing and a thought has slipped in, that we're going to just release it, maybe name it, let our bodies soften and return to a stabilizer, something that helps steady and calibrate our minds. It just helps mindfulness work better. So you could take the palms of your hands and you could rest your hands together, or you could rest the palms on your thighs, or you could use sound or a different body sensation. So take a moment, like the next half minute or so, to just explore what anchor you're going to use for the remainder of our practice. Noticing where your mind is, just gently letting go of whatever has slipped in unnoticed and is now you're aware of, and just releasing it. Notice your body, soften the body, and return to your object. And again, just notice where your mind is, releasing, softening, returning. And as we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our hearts be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may whatever good comes of our practice be of benefit to all beings. And I want to read a very short, it's actually an excerpt from a Wendell Berry poem called The Want of Peace. And there was something, this time of year where there's a lot of consumerism, and there's something I thought was just really beautiful in this. All goes back to the earth, and so I do not desire pride of excess or power, but the contentments made by those who have had little, the fisherman's silence receiving the river's grace, the gardener's musing on rose. So taking a moment, if the eyes were closed, to open the eyes and just do a little bit of a stretch and reorient to the space that you're in. Um, and Anne, I'm just seeing your note here. Yeah, hard to believe, 4 years. Um, and I'm not sure if because John is going to be sending out the communication. So I don't know if anybody who's on this morning received the notification about the changes, and I'm assuming you didn't since nobody's said anything in the chat. But I know, so all of our Living Well programs, so not just mindfulness, but there's some changes to all of them. And the last 2 weeks of this month, um, basically the Living Well program is just taking those weeks off. The only exception might be, and I'm not 100% sure, but definitely next Wednesday and the Wednesday after, we will not be doing this. But I want to, I got an update. Oh, you did, Ashley. Okay. Uh, okay, so some people have and some haven't. It's possible that we have some of your email addresses, but not all of your email addresses, or that it's going out in batches. Um, so, okay, yeah, that's helpful. Thanks for letting me know. Um, I'm not sure. I honestly am not sure because sometimes, like, the mindfulness program has worked a little bit differently. Like, I did a practice on Thanksgiving morning. So I would say just, if you're inspired to check in the morning, just check. And if it's, 5 minutes beyond when it should have started, then it's not going to happen. But definitely the next 2 Wednesdays won't. An update on Facebook. Yep. Okay. All right. Good to know. So I can let those who are doing the communication make sure that they update on Facebook. And that is, I'm guessing that that's probably already in the works. But we do have a few minutes, 5 minutes or so for any questions or thoughts that you have about practice. Any end of the year musings that you want to share. um, and of course, any questions that you have come up for you about practice. I will share that I'm so grateful for this community and for the opportunity to do what I love most. That my personal and professional passion has come together, and that I have this, that Point 32 Health, Harvard Pilgrim is where we started this program, but that they gave me the opportunity to do this. And I will always be incredibly grateful for that trust and for this community. No email. Okay, so some did and some didn't. So I'm definitely going to pass that along. Next week, again, it'll be a little bit sketchy in terms of what will be held and what won't be held. Thank you. Thank you, Denise. Yeah, it's quite something to come together with a community, because I think this can be a little bit of a lonely practice. And yet I think some like Insight Timer, you can see who's meditating around the world. And I think that I've always thought that that was kind of cool. But it's also, it's a simple practice, but it isn't easy. For those of you that happened to join yesterday, I was talking a little bit about how the beauty of this practice and of stopping and slowing down is that it gives us a reference point for how quickly the mind is moving. Um, and I always like to say that the practice is working, even if you think it isn't, just by seeing, getting to know the nature of your mind, getting to know your habit patterns with more clarity, just kind of seeing what the mind is up to. Um, but I used this example yesterday, which I think is really helpful too, is when we're busy with our lives, we don't necessarily see what's happening and how busy the mind is. But when we remove all of the busyness and the distraction, and I'm not using distraction in a pejorative or negative way, but our lives are busy. But when we remove all that and we do this practice, it leaves a lot of space for lots of things to come up, which I think is part of why one of the reasons this practice is so hard, but that is you're seeing clearly kind of how the mind is operating, and that in itself is so instructive and so helpful. The example I used yesterday was like if you're riding in a train and you look out on the horizon, it's very hard to judge the speed of the train. But if you turned your head and looked right out your window, you would see how quickly things are passing. And that's kind of like what practice does for us. When we stop and remove all the typical distraction, it's like we're looking out that window of the train. It just allows a lot to come. And so that in itself is actually instructive and useful and helpful. Let me see. And Ashley, yeah, honestly, I think when we started our program, which was in 2005, mindfulness was it wasn't even, I mean, it's an ancient practice, so of course it was around, but it wasn't popular. It wasn't part of our common lexicon. It was, you didn't see the word on the cover of magazines the way that we have over the past, say, 10 years. And Harvard Pilgrim was really ahead of the curve. And I think in part because um, I had been at that time a longtime practitioner. I'd been sitting silent meditation retreats and working with teachers. And so the ability was already in house. And they said, yes, we're going to let you do this. So it was kind of an unusual, I sort of call it like the perfect storm. It was an unusual situation. But there were very few health plans, if any, that were doing it to the degree that we were doing it. And also, I was extremely cautious about who I hired because I knew that they had to have a depth of practice themselves in order to teach and in order to really convey the nuances with this practice, of which there are many. And so in those early years, it was challenging because I was looking for people that had really extensive um, practices. But in my mind, like I didn't compromise and it paid off. And I know for all of you that have been practicing with us and seeing our teachers, they are stellar. They are really stellar. And so, well, we're actually at 9:01. I know some of you are still on, and I'm so grateful. And so stay tuned. I am gonna send a note out to the folks that are doing the communication that some of you got it and some of you didn't. And also to update our Facebook page so that folks know, and especially since I'm unsure about what's going to happen on Tuesday and Thursday of next week, you can check the Facebook page for that, or join. And if it's if nothing's happening in a few minutes, just you can hop off. Let's see. All right. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. And just happy holidays, safe. May you be healthy and safe and peaceful. Okay. Bye.